Got cut short last time. Sorry about that. Actually, did this whole video, this whole next section, half an hour worth, and realized that my camera had adjusted itself. This camera's been acting funny. Put itself vertically and not horizontal. So the entire 30 minutes ended up horizontal, or vertically, pardon me. Anyway, this is the peristyle from the back, from behind. And like I said, that's what I have the slide of is the front of that statue, the Statue of the Republic. And like I said, a lot of people say they claim that statue is completely gold. Anyway, you can see down the bay here, way down there, you see that appears to be the boat. I want to say that's the boat fountain. One way or the other, it's a fountain. And you can see one of the other the spires up there on the building on the left. A lot of people allege that those were perpetual energy. They were a negative and positive terminal for perpetual energy in the tops of those buildings using the ether. Very interesting stuff. But obviously it would make sense for the oil and electricity barons to not want perpetual energy. But that's a whole nother story. Yep, this is the John Bull train, and it was an exhibit. This is an old train, and they just brought it in from something that they had previously done with the railroads, and they're just showing off the engines. So this one's the Lord of the Isles. Lord, they named an object Lord. That's hilarious to me. The Javan settlement, Javan. All right, and you can see the very primitive street scene you got going on there, and whatever narrative they wanted to make there for whatever history and parts of the world that were going on. That's what they were doing. You can see the Ferris wheel in the background there, and there's the Javanese orchestra with what looks like shrunken bodies or totems of some sort all over the place. I don't understand what creepy thing this is, but they're all on poles and posts too, like miniature Vlad the Impaler stuff. What on earth? They look like aliens, man. Look at the faces on those things. Little demon creatures, and I'm glad I zoomed in on that. I did the video before and I did not zoom in on them that closely. Those are like little miniature demon things. Goblins. Look at the faces on that thing. And then, what on earth, man? I was thinking like shrunken heads or something, but these are like totems. Demons and totems. Like mummified little demon looking things. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, that was a strange time, 1890s. I don't know what's going on there, but you see it. The 50 saw logs, I have no idea. Somebody was trying to outdo somebody else. Guinness Book World Records stuff before Guinness Book World Records. I'm assuming. So somebody did 25 logs one year, and then this year they did 50 or something along those lines. Incredible. Now here, so yeah, it must have been Dutch windmills in the background of the earlier picture that we had been looking at in one of the previous videos. So yeah, they have obviously had a Dutch, setup, which is obviously very primitive. I don't think we're here for much of that. This is a little bit interesting though. So here's the western side of the manufacturer's building, and this is on Chicago Day, so you can see the mobs of people, but they're all around the one totem pole that we saw, the obelisk. There's my camera backing up again. The obelisk thing. You see the people down there on the boats again, but the wings, if you will, that were sticking out on the side of the obelisk. So there's obviously a wreath there. It looks like a broom, but there are what looks like the front end of a ship, and then the mermaid type statue thing put on the front of it. And as you can see, the industrial building, whatever over there, is just absolutely gigantic. Look at how tiny the people are in front of that thing. This is insane. I wonder how many people could fit in one of those little sections of the obelisk. Look how small they are. Probably a few, several. Larger than life. Now this is mind-boggling. Okay, the silver column of Atlas. And as you can see, Atlas is up there. So with a globe on top of them, that it had to have been made, I would say, fairly recently, because the whole globe phenomenon thing did not happen until a certain time in our history. And either this is feeding into that narrative, or obviously this is not something that was made, talking 1600s or anything like that. It would have been made, actually, I don't recall the timeline on when everybody started calling the world round and everything else, because it wasn't looked at as that way for a long time. But anyway, the significance of this tower, the silver column of Atlas, the engraving shows the northwestern interior of the mines building. So this is inside the mines building, but they're alleging that this thing is made out of silver. I'm thinking entirely. That's incredible if that's the case. I don't know. You can see the text down there if you wanted to pause it. Kind of a bummer. I got to do this one again. I'd have been doing part 4 right now. Pennsylvania's Pavilion in Agricultural Hall. So as you can see, this is probably Pennsylvania's coat of arms. Very elaborate setup, but at the same time looks very primitive and almost kind of looks like a portal over there. It looks very primitive and temporary compared to the other things. And then this, oh man, this room reminds me of a crazy dream I had during a ketamine surgery. I don't know if I mentioned that in one of the other videos or not, but the way that the room looks reminds me of a crazy dream I had. Well, when you're in a ketamine surgery, you're not actually unconscious. So it's weird to call it a dream. It almost feels like you're in another dimension. I don't know how else to put it, like LSD or peyote or something. And I don't think it's too dissimilar, to be perfectly honest. But I was innocently taking it. Obviously, I needed it for massive surgeries. I was having surgeries every other day or something like that to keep me alive. And you cannot go under anesthesia that often without dying. So I hope I didn't mention that in part 2 video. I can't remember, but pardon me if I did. But I won't elaborate on the dream. If anybody wants to hear about it, they can ask. So this is a display of French furniture, and so anyway, yeah, it's magnificent, beautiful stuff. Primitive though at the same time, but regal. Maybe not primitive. That's wrong. Actually, that's the wrong the word. It's better than anything we have now. Here's, I think, where I screwed up the other video. So here is the Art Palace. This may very well be, this is still there. I think this is the art museum. This is the Chicago Art Museum, I believe. And as you can see, they used to pull the boats right up to it, like right up to it. Let's just get out. You go over there now, and the sidewalks are all beat up looking, but the building's right there, man. Building's there to this day. You can see that building. So that is an example of a World's Fair building that still stands, and proof of the fact that they were not all temporary buildings. They weren't. I don't care what anybody tells you. They were not all temporary buildings. Now I cannot turn this, or it's going to screw up my entire perspective, because most of the pictures are horizontal. So this is the bedroom of Marie Antoinette, and I really do want to turn the camera. It's fascinating that they would have allegedly her bedroom set up. Marie Antoinette. So there were things, I was trying to see what kind of artifacts and stuff she would have, and the first time I filmed this. And there's a globe in there. Now I can't turn the camera, so it's very, very hard to get a detailed view. Maybe it did just flip on its own. Now I see the time ticking on the bottom again. Oh, shoot. Hope I didn't screw it up, but either way, I can't get too crazy looking at the Marie Antoinette there, but or else it's gonna flip the perspective. And, well, I guess we're stuck with this one too. Oh man, that reminds me of the dream a lot. The next room, that's crazy. Tomb of Louis de Breze in the Cathedral of Rouen. So Breze, Breze, Rouen, Rouen, and it's a cat. So this is a tomb that they recreated, and well, they didn't recreate it. They just obviously put it on a ship and brought it over, or I don't know, wherever they found it. But as you can see up here, that this stuff looks less angelic and heavenly and more like Knights Templar era, or potentially millennial reign, depending on what you believe. But it does not look heavenly and angelic like the statues do on the buildings. And that would have been, yeah, I don't know what region that would have been from. This reminds me of the dream also a little bit that I had, or whatever it was, hallucination. But yeah, this is some examples of artwork that were on display. Yeah, obviously they were French. I see the France banner there. Here's some more stuff like that. Wow, this reminds me of quite a few things. Yeah, lots of statues and busts and very cool things. And what we have on the page over here? Famous sculpture from the Cathedral of Notre Dame. Okay, so I don't know what this is about or the significance of it, but I do know that they just renovated. And every time they renovate one of these old cathedrals or buildings, they're just taking things away, painting things over, removing, obstructing. That's about it. So they're really not renovating or saving anything. But it's reopened now, Notre Dame, and I think they did the same thing with St. Peter's Basilica and a couple of other things. So now it's changing perspective on me again. I don't know how to. Okay, so anyway, I hope it just doesn't overcorrect itself for that. But getting off that page just because it's screwing up the camera bad. So this is interesting. We start getting into portal territory again, which is, I don't understand why they're using the word portal over and over and over in the 1800s. The gallery from the Cathedral of Limoges, Limoges, and it almost looks like a pan kind of character there. Okay, this appears to be more pagan as well looking than the stuff on the buildings. And I see a Japanese flag up there at the top. I don't know what any of that means, but so this here is the Portal of St. Gilles, Gilles, and do that down there. But once again, as you can see, portal, and then people are saying that this stuff is all temporary and everything, but I want you to look closely at this. So it says in the text that these are saints or apostles in between the pillars, which is when you zoom in, they are. That's pretty obvious. So this one has a lot of heavenly characteristics. As you can see there, they are again, the apostles and the saints in between the pillars. But as you can see up at the top of the portal, quote unquote, it's broken. The whole upper part of it is snapped. It's broken off. You can tell this is an ancient relic, this one, for sure. Okay, this is a painting. That's another painting. So they're going into artworks. What on earth is that going on? I don't even know what the heck is going on. Oh, I'm looking at the picture opposite of the one that's showing. Here we go again. I'm not going to show the artwork. The portal of the north transept of the Cathedral of Bordeaux. Alrighty. So as you can see, once again, it's another elaborate doorway. apostles in between the pillars once again, and it is referred to as a portal. Um, yeah, I mean, just portals galore. But as anybody who's been paying attention knows, that the Freemasons and the Pope just opened up a whole bunch of what they now call portals as of 2024 and 2025. In St. Peter's Basilica, some prison, and some other places. I want to say the last one they just did on the 6th. But boy, the world's been wacky ever since, I gotta say. Anyway, that's the portal of the Cathedral of Bordeaux. And this is concrete handiwork. So at the time, somebody must have been a concrete expert, handy or professional. And this is displays of their work and what you could order through them. As you can see, there's even fences, and so that's where the lions and stuff, casts. This is all casts. So somebody was doing concrete work there, and 1834, it looks like they were founded. All right, we have the tomb of the children of Charles VIII. Alrighty, I'll just linger in that for a minute. I'm not going to elaborate too much, but you can pause it and read it if you'd like. There is a statue of Jesus over here, and I'm afraid to do too much with it, but I do want to zoom in on the Hebrew. So if anybody wants to decipher what that says, they can try to. But that's just a statue there. I'm hoping the perspective doesn't change again so I get out of here. Another painting. This is the outside of the portal of the golden portal doorway that we saw in video 1. So the elaborate details on this are magnificent. But allegedly all this is gold. And the first video has some really good pictures of it. That's an insanely elaborate building. Oh, that one's apocalyptic. Look, we'll get to it in a minute here. But this one, water view of the manufacturer's building. So as you can see, all these buildings were all accessible, to and fro just by going across the canal, which appears to be a man-made canal as well. But once again, I mean, those are some big flags. Look how big the flags are compared to the people. And it appears to be people on the roof. That's way up there. I mean, these are just, there are people on the roof. I'm telling you, those are people way up there. Just looking over, look how small they are, barely even stick over the fence. And there's, man, I don't know where that is. There's going to be footage of two gentlemen up there where all the flower vases are. But look at this picture. This is a picture of the Grand Basin by moonlight here. And it looks like an apocalyptic nightmare, honestly. It looks like the dome just got bombarded. It looks like part of it's blown away on the right there. Like it's where it's all dark, and then you see the moon to the kind of the upper right of it. And you see the spires again in the background. That's a creepy looking picture. That looks like it's been shelled. I wonder if that's before they painted it white, or if it's just the fact that there's such a lack of light reflecting on it, being the lower light of the firmament exclusively at the moment being nighttime. Alrighty, the Sweden's building and the Norway's building. Now these are just simple exhibits, temporary buildings that were set up just for the fair. We won't spend too much time on those. And here we go, the Spanish building and the French building. The French building's pretty elaborate looking in comparison to a lot of the others, which I'm not surprised. But also, as you see, not as finely detailed, nowhere nearly as finely detailed as the elaborate structures of downtown Chicago and other parts of the world. You see that crest sticks way out. It's got a Wicked Witch of the West looking face on the front of it. What in the world? two castle spires or turrets. Yeah, and the flag of France there. French Revolution. Look into that. It's not exactly what was going on that you think was. Now, that young man is up on the top of that building that we were just showing from afar. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the women's building veranda. This may not be the same building. This is the women's building veranda. So that young man's up at the top of the women's building looking down. What a view I'm sure he has. Extremely elaborate bell tower looking thing. Perpetual energy, and they got a flag way up on top of there. And then here we got this one here. The Grand Loggia of Machinery Hall. So this is the front of Machinery Hall there. And as you can see, it's like the Louvre, you know, you got the pillars and you got the extremely elaborate doorways, and look at the ceiling detail even. It's just incredible. Incredible. Yeah. Some guy with a hammer and chisel, man. Boy, oh boy. Let's hire his, whoever his ancestors are, let's get them to do our work from now on, huh? That guy must have been tireless, and I mean, nobody's been that good since, obviously, either. So, Proctor's Cowboy. That is a superficial statue there, obviously, and there's Proctor's Indian. Yeah, those ones, you can see the difference. They're just, it almost looks paper mache, plaster of Paris, something along those lines. The Penobscot Indians, I probably butchered the pronunciation. You should, Chickasha. That was a tough one for me, and there was several other ones. But Chickasha looks like Chickasha, so Penobscot might be Penobsco. I don't have no idea. Anyway, the totem poles. We got totem poles. I'm not going to elaborate too much on the pagan stuff here. Totem poles. But that's primitive. We're here for the modern, right? The boat parade on Transportation Day. Got about 8 more minutes here. Let's see. So, boat parade, I guess. But as you can see, the real attraction is the magnificent, wondrous building in the background that I cannot even imagine what kind of power it took to demolish. That is enormous. Look at the boat compared to it. Yeah. Alrighty. The Cliff Dwellers, more narrative based. This is what the world's like type of stuff in whatever region it might have been. Yeah. All right, so this is where I ended up. So I'm appear to be 8 minutes ahead of schedule from this point last time. I was talking about my dream, though, I think, in the other video. I was explaining my ketamine dream in detail the first time I filmed this. So this is probably a blessing, actually, that I'm not explaining that, although it is a very interesting tale. Colorado's building and Maine's building. And the statue of Germania. So let's check out what Germania is all about here. Germania. That's a woman. It's a woman with a sword and a feather and wing on her hat. If anybody wants to read that and decipher it, feel free. Yeah, more phoenix coming out. Everybody always thinks it's an eagle. It's always a phoenix, whether it be Germany or the United States. It's always a phoenix, never an eagle. And then we have another Dionysus type of looking woman, queen thing. Aspen, Colorado, the Silver Queen. In the Western Gallery of the Mines and Mining Building. The most conspicuous object in that locality was the golden and silvern group of statuary called the Silver Queen. So this thing's made out of gold and silver. Wow. I can't change the perspective. Whoa, almost knocked the camera over, but that's pretty nuts if that's the case. But as you can see, another reference, probably 7 tips on the crown that she's wearing. All these 7 tipped crowned women all over, and statues all over the world, including the Statue of Liberty, if you believe it's a woman. I have my own beliefs. I got 2 moose statues. Look very concrete and superficial, porous, not marble. Those are obviously porous. And temporary, I would have to imagine. The Moose Bridge. Oh, it's a Moose Bridge. And this bridge appears to be metallic with wooden walkway. The ornamental German gates. Those are pretty. And one of the electrical fountains. Whoa. All right, we're going to spend a little extra time on this. So electricity is one of the fascinating things about this. So the World's Fair in 1893, all the boats even glowed and were lit up. I don't understand. You know, electricity was primitive, allegedly, all that stuff. So there's the building. There's people on top of it, as you can see again. Look at the flags. Those flags must have been, I can't even imagine how huge that flag is. Look at the people to the left of that flag. That's absolutely remarkable. Okay, so on each side of the McManus fountain was placed a circular basin or enclosure, seen as the photograph, from which many volcano-like craters issued. These were covered with rustic rockwork for ornament in the daytime, when the fountains were not in use. At night, there were issued from these craters streams of watery lava, green, golden, rosy red, pink, yellow, and blue, the columns rising to a much greater height than it may be here seen, capable of also of multiple colors, cross-playing, and pyramidal effects. The varicolored night fountain in former times was produced only in the dramatic stage, the colored lights being thrown upon the waters from the flies and by the Drummond light, which is capital D, Drummond light, some sort of light. The electric fountain was introduced in the general public at Paris in the Exposition of 1889 with great success. Mr. Yerkes, Yerkes of Chicago, then erected a fine example of this beautiful device at Lincoln Park in the northern part of the city of Chicago, which, playing on 3 nights a week, was visited by millions of people. These fountains at the fair, at the hours in which they were played, added distinctly to the bewildering beauties of the scene. The operators are concealed in a spacious room beneath the basin. Wow. And electric lights play on the water before it rises out of the funnels. Owing to the complexity of the apparatus, hydraulics, dynamos, and whatnot, disappointment is frequent and unavoidable, but the successful exhibitions are all the more highly enjoyable by the people. Absolutely mind-boggling. Come on, camera, fix yourself. There you go. Mind-boggling. I can't even believe what I just read. That's insanity. 1893. And people think, I'm telling you, we think we are advanced. You're mistaken. There were things going on in this world. Truth is so much crazier than fiction, people. Truth is so much crazier than Marvel and Disney and everything else. You have no idea. Read the Bible even. We don't even have the tip of the iceberg on the things that we were able to do and build. Look at these buildings. We cannot do this anymore. And it's for a reason. Technology is hidden from us. Or something happened and it's, you know, all those secrets are gone. I don't know. Maybe it's forbidden. Maybe it was forbidden to begin with. And that's why all these cities are gone. Maybe God didn't want it in our hands. And we made these magnificent things. And he said, no more. I don't know. I don't know. But it's just crazy. The agricultural hall. So these are pictures we've seen before. Whether they be in slides or tintypes or videos. I've seen this in videos several times. This the manufacturer's building from the north end of Wooded Island. And I'm going to end on this. We'll zoom in a bit. And I think we got a really good look at this building earlier, though. And then this one again, I'll just kind of Zoom in on the folks there. Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for watching again. And this is part 3, I believe. And I'll try to do one every 5 to 7 days or something like that. Space them out a little bit, let people watch and not be overwhelmed with, bombarding a whole bunch of videos at once. But I appreciate you, anybody who's interested enough to watch this. And sorry to my baseball card guys who are expecting that kind of stuff, but this stuff fascinates me as well. So I wanted to share this with my short season family and my fellow Christians and anyone else who's fascinated with history or architecture. So thank you very much for watching. God bless you, and appreciate you. Take care.